Welcome back to the channel, guys.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be replacing my son's front shell on his PS4 remote with this new improved shell that you can see here. This is a Goku inspired shell, Dragon Ball Z focused shell that you see here. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get something that we can work on. We're going to just take this bubble wrap that the shell came shipped in and use that as our workspace. So to begin this process, what we're going to do is remove the 4 screws that you see here on the back of the remote. I'm going to be using this little tool kit to do that. Let's go ahead and get the tools out of the kit. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver, a kind of small Phillips screwdriver to be able to access to remove the screws on the back of the remote. All right, so the right size bit you're going to need is going to be a Phillips 00, as you can see here. It'll be a Phillips 00 bit. Make sure you have that size. If you have a size that's larger than that, then you're probably not going to be able to remove those screws properly. So we get the correct bit in now. We're going to begin removing these screws one at a time. Doesn't matter where you start at. Just start at the top of the remote. Once we got that removed, you can begin prying the case off. This is the fun part. What I like to do here is get a flathead screwdriver and use that to help me pry the case apart. Get that installed here. Right, so we're going to kind of start at the top here. Kind of the best place to get the controller to begin to separate. It's a little tricky to get it apart to begin with. Just kind of funnel around the edges until you can get an edge to break loose. There, we got this side broken loose. Just be kind of gentle. You want to be too rough when you're trying to break it loose because you don't want to accidentally rip anything apart here. This controller has never been apart, as you can tell. That's why it's so hard to separate. Alright, so we got it to begin here. Let's apply some pressure on the bottom side. And there we go. The hardest part to separate is the bottom. But once you get that separated, then it's pretty straightforward from there.
Can I see it?
Alright, look at the guts on the inside here. So I'm going to give you a close-up look at what the internals look like. So what we're going to have to do now is remove this actual circuit board and all the other accessories inside the controller, with the other parts inside the controller. So the first thing we're going to do is unplug this ribbon cable you see here. The best thing to do that with is with a small pair of pliers. Just gently pull up on it. But now what we're going to do is pull this ribbon out. Pull it straight out, as you can see there, and that separates the back of the case. Very straightforward. Then what we're going to do is remove the other components of the case. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to remove the battery. And you can remove the battery by simply unplugging this connector here. Just the top portion, as you can see. Just pull it out like so. And lay that to the side. And now you see you have one screw here. We're going to remove this screw. Gotta put the correct bit back in. Remove this screw. Once you have that screw removed, just pull it on out. Alright, now we have that screw removed there. And just lay this to the side by the battery along with the screw. Alright. Now we're going to try to begin to gently pry this away from the casing. Let's do it ever so gently. Don't want to be too aggressive. Just little by little until you can get it to come completely out. There's a little cable here. Actually, before we do that, sorry, I almost forgot to mention, there's a little cable here. We got to pull that cable out. Speed ever so gently to remove that. The top portion you can grab, put some pliers on, and just gently pull that out like so. That's going to give us enough freedom so we can pull this out of the case. Lay this to the side here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and lay both cases beside each other.
Oh, I know what to do.
Just like so.
I do it.
All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to pull the grommets off of the buttons here. And then we're going to get each button out one by one. I'm going to let my son put each button in. Put that button in, make sure you put it in the right way. So if you're looking at the remote, it's going to have the triangle facing up. So you want to put it in directly, just like this. See, like that? I'll let you put the next button in. Let's take this button out here. This is the circle button. Go ahead and put that in for me. Put it in on the left-hand side. Goes on the left. All right. Put the square in. Gotta make sure we put this in correctly. Let's look here. Let's go ahead and slide that in. And then we're going to confirm that we have everything positioned properly. Once he sits all of them in. And we're going to do the X. Put this one in for you. All right, and they have grooves, so you really can't mess up how you put them in. So as you see, my son didn't have it all the way in the correct position. He just simply slide it around. It's going to fall in position for you. Kind of hard to see here, but there you go. See, it just fell into the slot. And we're going to do the same thing for the circle here. Slides to the slot, and then they're all slid into the slot properly. And we're going to go and put the little button pad on them. Probably the most tedious part of this particular section is putting that back on properly. So you just slide it on, make sure it goes into all the grommets. All right, now we're gonna move over to the D-pad on this side here. Do the same thing, I'll pull this grommet off, like so. And take the D-pad out, put it into the other face shield like so. And then put this cover back on it. Same principle works on this side too. Just make sure you get it in the slots and push it down firmly. All right, now we have that in. We're gonna move to getting the this little button here out, the little PlayStation button. You simply give it a little pressure from the bottom. It takes the button out along with the little rubber grommet. We'll put the button in just like you did with the other buttons. Slide it in just like so. We make sure we have it positioned correctly. We do. Yep. So I'll show my son so you can see what it looks like. Wow. So it's starting to come together, as you can see now, guys. So we're gonna put this little grommet back on it as well. All right, so this one is made slightly different than the one on the original remote. Let's see if we can get this to go in. All right, there we go. Got this one in. Like I said, it's made slightly different. If you look on this one, the notches are a little bit higher. These are a little bit more recessed, so you got to kind of really get it in there into the notches to make it sit properly. So we got that in there properly now. Next thing we want to do is get a little touchpad out. That comes out very simply, as you can see here. It kind of slides into this little slot here. You're gonna slide it right out just like so. Then you're gonna slide it in just like this. I'll try to slide it in like that. It's a little tighter fit, as you can see. All right, so we got that in there. Move it up. And there we go, we got it in there just like it's supposed to be right now. All right, so now we're gonna make sure that we have all the guts out, looks like we do. So we can begin reinstalling the internals of the controller. I'm gonna start by putting the circuit board and other parts back in at the same time. Just make sure when you insert this in, you have to make sure you route this cable back into its original position. Yes, I think we need to get that in first if we can. This is going to be the trickiest part here. What I'm going to do is actually bend this cable back a little bit just so we can get it into the spot where it needs to go. So I bent it back, so now it should angle up where I need it to go into. Almost got it here. There you go, you see it just slid in like it's supposed to there. That was the hardest part of this process. Everything else should kind of slide in place. As you can see there, just line up the notches. Now what we're gonna do, just like we did earlier, I'm gonna put this cable back in by grabbing onto the back portion of this cable. And then gently, once you got it positioned properly, gently push it in to place like so. Now we have that in place, we can begin putting the battery assembly back in. Dials to line it up here, little pegs to line it up. You're gonna put those in onto the holes on the circuit board. I'm gonna get our screw. This is the only silver screw that you're gonna see to get the correct Phillips in. Your Phillips screwdriver, your double O screwdriver. Put this screw back in to hold the battery tray. I'm gonna screw that screw all the way in. You just wanna get it snug. You don't wanna over tighten it. So right there, snug, it's not going anywhere. And we're gonna put the battery back in place. And the battery does have to go in a particular way. You're going to look at the connector here. You see you have a notch on one side of it. You wanna make sure you put it in the correct way. And once you're sure of it, you can go ahead and push it in, snug it in like so. And lay the battery down on the battery compartment. And then we can begin putting the back plate on. Now the back shell that you see here, I'm going to get another one for my son, so I'll show you how to do that in the next segment of this video series. But we're going to put this one back on this particular controller. So to do that, first thing you're going to do is put this ribbon cable back in. We're going to put it back on with the blue end facing towards the battery. Just take your time to line it up properly. This is kind of tedious. You can use pliers to put it in as well, but I prefer to use my hand on this particular segment. So now what we're going to do is put the back plate all the way back on, snap it in place. Make sure you get everything lined up accordingly. Just push it in place like you see there. Just gently snap it in all the way around, just like so. As you can see, we have everything snapped on. The last thing we're gonna do is put the remaining screws in. And I'm gonna get these screws started, and I'm gonna let my son finish it off.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go to let my son finish tighten up all the screws. Here you go, buddy.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make sure that all of them are snugged up properly here. All right, and there we go. It's all done. It looks amazing to me. You like it, son? You look at him, he's so ready to play it. All right, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna test the functionality of all the buttons, make sure they work. I'm gonna press the X here, circle, triangle, square, they all seem to be fine. Start menu, share button, all working. Touchpad works. L3 and R3 both work. Right on the D-pad, yes. Up, yes. Up, yes. Down, yes as well. R1, L1, R2, L2, all work. So it looks like everything's functioning properly. Now let's try to turn it on. Here we go. And it's powered on. So you can see there. So as you can see, everything is done. This controller looks amazing now. Next thing we're gonna do is definitely take care of this back shell, make it look like a brand new controller once again. And I'm gonna let my son give you his impressions on it. What do you think about it, buddy?
I think it would be good on me and Fortnite.
How do you like how it looks?
It's amazing. I watch Goku when I was 4 years old.
Yeah, I know. He's a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope it taught you something, how to install this shell on your controller. If you want any other videos with modifying your controller, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll make sure that I upload videos on how to do that. Other than that, this was very fun. I definitely recommend you doing this for your kids or anybody that you know that wants to modify their controllers. This would be a great gift for them. So definitely think about, modifying the controller for them. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and go down and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Peace.